Today, we're diving into a juicy topic of personal finances. The more I've learned about personal finances, the more I love to talk about it because financial literacy is so important, especially in today's economic climate. If you're new here, my name is Kat. I love all things Notion, productivity, and day-to-day things of life like finances. Be sure to subscribe if that sounds like you too. In all honesty, finances are not something I've always been good at managing. It's taken quite a bit of learning and adjusting, and I'm still learning along the way. But Notion has been an absolute lifesaver to me. And so today I'm giving you a little sneak peek into the finance planner, which is now available in my Etsy shop. Yay. And I'm sharing some of the techniques we use in our house to keep our finances organized. The finance planner was born for a few different reasons. Firstly, I wanted to make sure that our personal finances were in order. About 2 years ago now, I was asked to fill in a financial manager position of an organization to kind of help clean up the books and prepare for a more permanent person to fill in that position. And you might be asking, are you qualified for that? And the answer is no. I don't have any background in financials or anything like that, but I was able to surround myself with people who did know what they were doing that I could ask questions and learn from. But honestly, I saw some things while I was there. There had been some mistakes that were made that I had to kind of clean up after, and at the end of it all, I really was just like, wow, I don't want that to ever happen with our personal finances. Like, I want to know what's going on and just avoid all of that if possible. The absolute best way to prevent mistakes from happening with your finances is to get up close and personal with them. That way, you know exactly what's going on. And the finance planner was my solution to that. Secondly, to be completely transparent with you, my husband and I are working really hard to get out of debt right now. And this is certainly not something that is easy. It takes a lot of hard work. But this template has been a game changer for us in terms of keeping our finances organized and even helping us make better decisions with our money. With all that being said, as I mentioned before, the finance planner is now available in my Etsy shop. And I worked super hard to perfect this template, so I am very excited to share all of the awesome features with you. But before we dive in, I just want to say this template is not going to be for you if you are not willing to get down and dirty with your finances. Good financial recording takes some time and effort to do, and this template is not going to help you very much if you're not wanting to do that. And there is no judgment for me, I'm just being real with you guys. Also, if you're looking for a simple template for budgeting, this template may not be for you either. There is a budgeting section on this template, but there is so much more to it than that, and it all works together. Let's go ahead and dive in and take a peek. Okay, so here is the finance planner, and now before you ask if these are actually my budget numbers, they are not. In the interest of protecting my personal financial information, I decided to just make a little fake budget here and give you a complete tour of the finance planner so you can see how it all works, but it's not my actual finances. However, my personal page does look exactly like this. There's just some more numbers on it. So right away when we look here, you can see the account balances on the side. Now, if you toggle these open, you can actually see the exact balance of each of these accounts. And what's pretty cool is that these are actually connected to all of your transactions that you enter in. So every time I enter in a new transaction, it actually changes the number that is in that account. There's a place for sinking funds and investments if you have any of those, debts, which would include credit cards, loans, anything like that, and then the actual account balances, so savings and checkings. One financial tip that I do have for you is if you aren't using sinking funds, you might want to look into using them. If you don't know what a sinking fund is, it's essentially just kind of a pot of savings that you put aside for an expense that you know is going to be coming up. An example for us would be like car insurance that comes every 6 months, and it's kind of a big chunk of money that has to come out, and it's just one of those things where it's like, okay, if we put aside the monthly amount that we would be spending anyway, then we don't even have to worry about that bill when it comes because that money is already set aside. And no, you don't necessarily need to open a new savings account for that. You can just keep it in one savings account. And what's cool about using Notion for this is that you can kind of delineate what's going into that account and like what it is set aside for without actually making separate accounts for that. So if we keep going down the side, we then have our financial goals that are here. So if you've seen seen my goal planning video, yes, this is actually connected to my goal planning template. And if you're interested in that, you can get that for free, and I'll also link the video so you can see what that's all about. But what's cool about these finance goals is this is actually pulling in the balance from one of the accounts that I've decided to set. Like for this one, I've made that I want to get the dog's sinking fund to $500. It's actually pulling the exact balance from that account right now, and as I add transactions in and out, it updates that progress bar automatically for me, which I think it's pretty cool. Now, if we look to the right here, this is the budget section where it says monthly income and expenses. So this is where I set up my actual budget of everything that I expect to come in and out each month. And yes, I do include my husband on here as well. It is a great way to get him involved in the finance things, and it really helps us just stay on the same page. Now, when it comes to creating a budget, one tip I have for you is to use the reverse budgeting method. If you've never heard of that before, it is actually where you look at what you have previously spent and then use that to build your budget going forward. I find that this helps me make a really realistic budget that I can stick to because it's actually based on my spending habits as they are already. Now, of course, you can tighten the grip on certain areas or allow yourself to spend more in other areas if you're not happy with your current spending habits, but that is kind of just part of it, playing around and seeing what works for you in your budget. Then if we scroll all the way down to the bottom, this is where I have the paycheck divisions. Now, to me, this is honestly one of the most important parts of this template, and it's just a list. What I actually do here is I look and see everything that I budgeted out from up here, and I essentially break down each paycheck as it comes in and allocate that money where it needs to go. The reason why this is kind of just here as a list is because I love to actually say where that money is going. So like I have $350 to stay in my checking, and that is going towards grocery, fun, and gas. And then below that, I have $400 to go to the bill pay account, and that would cover my phone, internet, natural gas, and water. I really like to notate where the money is going if it needs to go somewhere that's not just staying in my checking, because then I can just immediately get it out of my account and not look at it and not think, oh, I have extra money to spend when I don't actually have that money to spend. Another tip I have for you to go along with that is open a separate checking account specifically for paying bills. The reason I recommend that is literally just as I said earlier. When I get paid, I come here, I look and see I have $400 that's going to go to my bill pay account, and that money immediately leaves my account, and then I'm not tempted to spend it. This is something my husband and I started doing probably almost a year ago now, and it has made a huge difference for us. It really, really helps us stay on top of where our money is going and what we're spending. All right, so let's take a look at where we enter our transactions. So I really like to have a separate place to enter my transactions versus where they just kind of sit where I can reference them, because then there's sort of a reconciliation process that happens. I enter all of my transactions in, and then when they're done, I can just hit that little sort column over here, and then I have a clean space to add more transactions in. Let me show you an example. So I'm just gonna pop open my account balances so you can see what happens here, but I'm just gonna pretend that I went to the store. So I'll just say I went to Walmart and I spent $50 in groceries, and that came out of my checking account. And you can see now that my checking balance over here dropped $50 because I spent that money. And this is how I kind of reconcile my account. When I enter all my transactions in, if my actual bank account matches what I have in Notion, then I know I've gotten everything, and I can just go ahead and click the little sort button here and then move on to the next account. I do this once a week as part of my weekly reset just to stay on top of things. Then if we go and look at the register really quick, you can see this is where all the transactions end up, and this is everything that I had for June. Each month I make a little new tab here so I can easily reference my transactions if I ever need to go back and double check something. And then this opening balance here is where I entered in like the opening balance of my account, so that's where my account started before I started entering in transactions. Now what's cool is once you add in all of those transactions, you can go to the budget comparison down here, and it will literally compare your budget that you entered on the front page to what you're actually putting in each month. So you can see here, this is the budget column, and then this is the actuals. This third column here actually evaluates whether or not you were over or under your budget, and it really helps you just visualize your spending habits and know where you're going over or where you are maybe doing great on your budget. So because your sinking fund and credit card don't necessarily count as income for the month, you don't really want any purchases that you make with those to go against your actuals for the month. So there's a separate tab here for your credit card to see where your money might be going if you're spending it on credit card purchases. And there's also a tab here for sinking funds to see where your sinking funds might be going. Now, this last part might be my favorite part of this template, and it is the finance meeting. So I'm gonna pop this open so you can see it really quick. There's some areas where you can write down discussion points if you have anything you want to talk about that month or address that month. Your finance goals show up here so you can double check how those are doing. You can write down your wins, write down your concerns, and then your numbers also show up here. So the current balances, you could just pop those open and see all your balances. There's the register, which will be whatever month you might be working on. And then lastly, it does show your budget comparison. So you can see your cash actuals, your current month for your credit card, and your current month for your sinking fund. Then at the bottom, I have some reflection questions. Right now, mine are very heavily weighted towards paying off more debts and being more aware of our spending habits. And then there's also a section to write down any action items you might have from the end of your little meeting that you have. If you need to maybe open an account, change your budget, anything like that, you can write them down here so you don't forget. Now, even if you don't purchase this template from me, I do encourage you to have a monthly meeting. And if you have a partner, this is a great time for them to come in and have the meeting with you. I always do that meeting with my husband every single month, but if it's just you, do it by yourself. Taking time to analyze and go over your finances, look at your spending habits, all that kind of stuff is going to help you reach your money goals. And quite honestly, I look forward to it every month. I think it's fun. So earlier I gave some reasons why this template might not be for you. Now I want to address why this template might be good for you. If you want to have a deeper understanding of your spending habits, this template is for you. If you're trying to reach a finance goal like paying down debt or building up your savings, then this template is totally going to help you out. And lastly, if you're looking to evaluate your finances more frequently, either with yourself or with your partner, this template will definitely help you accomplish that. If you're ready to grab the finance planner, head to the description box below. It is waiting for you there. If that's not you, then I hope this video gave you some helpful tips for organizing your finances and also gave you an idea of what you can create in Notion for your finances. If you have any questions related to finances, let me know in the comments. I definitely want to keep this conversation flowing because finances are so important. And the more you know, the more you can be empowered in your own finance journey. I'm sending you all of the good finance vibes, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.